Mhm. Okay. Um, Hi. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It's been a while since I've come on here and done, one of these videos, but uh just wanted to come on and share my thoughts. Wanted to share an experience or how do I say this? I guess we can say experience. An experience I had last night. I titled this video, CPS attorneys, friends or foes. Um, and there's a reason why I want to. There's an attorney that I've been following. He's a famous, I don't know famous, but I mean YouTube famous. He's pretty big on YouTube about you know uh, CPS advocating for families' rights. When their children are taken away by CPS. He's a California attorney. His name is Vincent Davis. Now, last night, no, let me just give a background about this guy. He's a very reputable attorney. He does broadcasts weekly, on different topics. He does them more than about a few times a week. I'm not sure what his schedule is, and I've watched his videos. I've been following him for about I've subscribed to his channel for about a year, and this is not necessarily like a knock or a diss video or anything like that. I don't want to ever we're all here in the same fight. We're all here trying to advocate for the same thing, and that is for our children to be safe from CPS, and for us to know, us the citizens to be well equipped, to know our rights, and if we're ever in that situation, to know what to just know how to handle it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an attorney. I'm a licensed social worker here. I'm a licensed master social worker here in Texas. I just want to state that I'm not. I don't work for CPS. I'm not. I'm not even an advocate, like one of those people that market themselves as CPS advocates. I had a personal situation which you guys can go and learn about my story on my page. It's one of those situations where I went through an experience, a negative one with CPS here in Texas, and let's just say I was able to keep my family safe. You know what I mean? Now, some people may make arguments that there's a need for CPS and children are being harmed, and I'm not taking away from any of that. Yes, but however, I truly believe that every parent, we all have a right to raise our children, and what I mean by that is we should never have to worry about the government coming in taking your family, taking your kids, just coming and taking your kids based off of hearsay or whether their opinions about you, whether they think you're rich enough or poor enough or black enough or white enough or what may have you. We should all be able to raise our children safely. To be safe of the government. Let me just say that. And I'm not trying to say that there aren't circumstances to that rule, but me personally, I'm going to follow the Fourth Amendment as the Constitution states, which is, until proven innocent, or unless there's some proof of evidence, we're to be free of any illegal searches and seizures. You know what I mean? And I don't. I truly believe that we have to arm ourselves with our constitutional rights. It's upon every American citizen. I truly believe that every American citizen to know what their rights are, constitutionally. Not like, I mean, yeah, no wrong. The states. I'm sorry. Let me see. Until there's proof, there's your. Oh, yeah. You know what? No, I'm so yes. Great point. How about until the what's his name? Cop Block. You just said. How about until there's proof, there's jurisdiction. Wait, I'm not understanding that question. How about until there's proof, there's jurisdiction? Well, I'll say like that. Until there's proof, there is no jurisdiction. I mean, we have to treat every person as if they're innocent until proven guilty. I mean, we have to treat, you can't just go around just pointing out people saying that they're criminals or anything like that, or treating people they're wrong. Like I said earlier, based off of maybe where they live. You know, if someone lives in, you know, a housing project or trailer park or what may have you, that should not have any bearings in if they are fit to raise their children. I think that socioeconomic status, income, all those things, you know, doesn't necessarily make you a good or bad parent. I think we need to treat everyone equally. But I don't want to ramble too much about that. But that was a good point. If I understood your question right. So back to my man Vincent Davis. I was on I was watching his podcast last night. He has I'm looking at it here. He had a show last night. It was called Relatives Fight CPS. Nanya Biz. I'm sorry. The name threw me off. That threw me off. Oh, I'm so distracted. Do me a favor, share or put in the chat what laws you're talking about. September 1st, that's going to change. I'm not too familiar, but this right here, this guy, he's an attorney, because this is bigger than Texas. This guy's an attorney in California, but he helps people nationally with their CPS cases. And so, so last night I was on his channel, and I got into a super chat. I went into a super chat. I recorded the video here because I don't know how to do the whole screen share thing. I'm not quite there. I'm not a super YouTuber, but I just wanted to share a bit of what he discussed, because, and this is the thing, you got to be careful with these attorneys, man, because sometimes you don't always know if these CPS attorneys, if they're for you, like if they're really going to help you out and, you know, help you get your kids back, or if they're part of the go along, get along gang. And what I mean the go along, get along gang is that, you know, I'll give you a prime example. Depending on what states you guys are in, let's say you go to, your kids are taken, right, from school or something. You go to, so you have like, I think 14 days to have the hearing when your kids are taken or something like that. Once you have that 14-day hearing, when you show up to that hearing, let's just say you show up, you're representing yourself pro se. All right, hold on. I'm gonna come back to that. Let me finish my point here, because that brings a good point of what you're bringing up, because I've actually had questions about that, but I'm gonna come back to that, Nunya. You know, when let's just say you got your kids taken away, right? You get one of those cards. You go to school to pick up your kid, and there's a card, CPS sent person saying call them. They have your kids. All right. You go, you talk to them. And by all means, I can't even imagine that, but I'm trying to just paint a scenario here. You go, they give you the 14-day hearing or whatever. You attend the 14-day hearing. When you attend, you're representing yourself pro se. Pro se means that you don't have an attorney. You're just up there. You're advocating for yourself, right? and then you go, and this happens a lot here in Texas. I don't know about any other state, and it's I may be speaking anecdotally, like somebody may interpret that here. I know that it happens here. Is that when you attend these hearings, the judge it's likely that the judge may not allow you to speak because you don't have an attorney. So it's pretty much the CPS reporter or the CPS investigator. They're saying, it's the CPS investigator saying, X, Y, and Z. This person, blah, 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 and you're like flabbergasted, right? Like you're like, what? Like you're like hearing all these different allegations or whatever about you and about your kid and this, that, another, blah, 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 whatever the story may be. But you're like, Judge, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, no, blah, blah, you can't say anything, blah, 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 be quiet, blah, 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 blah. Then next thing you know, the judge puts you on he says, okay, all right, you got to follow whatever CPS guidelines is. They want you to take a drug test. They want you to take these classes. Blah, 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 blah. You have to do all these different things. Then the judge says you can't go on social media. So it says you can't go on, put you on like a media ban. You can't talk to local media. You can't go to social media. You can't do anything, blah, 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 right? So at this point, you're kind of at the whim of the social workers or the caseworkers, whatever state you're in, what you may call CPS investigators, CPS investigator, caseworker, blah, blah. But you're kind of at their whim. You got to jump through all those hoops and do everything under the sun just for you to see your kid, right? Or you're doing it in mind to get your kid back and to be able to see your child while they're in foster care. God knows what's happening to them, right? And you're expected to be rational, right? You're expected to be calm, cool, and collect. Let's just say if you're one of those 9-to-5 parents, you don't have money like that for an attorney, right? But somehow you scrounge up the funds to get an attorney. And then you're thinking that this attorney is going to represent you to the fullest, right? This attorney is going to do everything they can under the sun to get you your child back. When actuality, the attorney, it seems like you're spending more and more money and you're just still going through this rat race. Here it is 2-3 months later, you're not any closer to getting your child back. Now I'm just kind of throwing that out there. It's not a specific scenario. It's just so many people, and you can even go on YouTube, so many people have testified that they've had a very similar or an experience somewhere in that category, right? And so one of the things that I've learned is, and this is just my personal experience, is understanding the basis of understanding the jurisdiction of the family court, right? Of CPS. And CPS operates under the family court, which is, under the civil division or the civil court, right? Not necessarily a constitutional court. So I just want to preference that. Because this is the same court, right? These are the same court that you go to when you don't pay your student loans or you get credit card fraud or not credit card fraud, I'm sorry, credit card debt. These are all civil suits. You know what I mean? It's a civil court. So therefore, I'm saying it's civil because civil court, technically, it's not a constitutional court. You know what I'm saying? It's not, otherwise we'd be in jail when we don't pay our bills. We'd be in jail for student loans. You know what I'm saying? We don't have those days anymore. We don't have debtor's jail and anything like that anymore. Well, you kind of do if you have child support, but that's a whole nother entity. All right. So let me just get to the clip I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to play it on my tablet. I'm going to put it here to the screen. I just want you guys to just watch this for a second. I'm going All right, hold on. Let me see if I can do it. Once I, and then, you know what, if you guys or something, I'm new to this YouTube thing. Once I learn how to do all this, I will definitely be better with it. But I just want, just for argument's sake, I just want you guys to see this. All right, let me get to the beginning. All right. All right, hold on. Turn the volume up. I don't know why I can't hear it. What is going on? Oh, oops, it's on mute.
Appreciate the super chat.
Okay. All right, here we go.
The answer is super chat.
This is it.
From Joel C.
That's me.
Joel C. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. And it says, you need to understand CPS operates under the jurisdiction of the family court, civil, meaning a judge isn't obligated to uphold constitutional rights. Joel C., I appreciate the super chat, but I have to disagree with you. All right? Juvenile dependency court is in the civil division. It's not the family law court. Family law court deals with child custody and visitation in divorce type situations or paternity type situations. All right? Darlene is not involved in a family law court case. She's involved in a juvenile dependency case. Family law code controls family law court. Welfare and Institutions Code in California controls the welfare and institutions, controls CPS courts. Now, the second statement that I disagree with you, my friend, is judges have to uphold the Constitution. Now, the Constitution is a living, breathing document. That's what they've been saying to me all throughout my career as a lawyer, through law school. It means different things to different people at different times, under different situations. So it's flexible, right? You think it is just a set of rules. It's not. But judges are obligated to uphold. I even think uphold the Constitution. I even think it's part of their oath as a judge. So Joel, let's not give up on the system. Let's believe that it works, and let's keep trying. I know Georgette has some very
now look at the other lady.
Georgette has very strong views.
She's had
experiences in our legal system. And listen, I understand Georgette's position. I mean, I do. I hear it from a lot of people all the time.
He muted her, by the way.
You know, but I do know that there are possibilities that justice can peek through even the darkest of storms.
Okay. Sorry about that. No, that was janky. But I wanted to just break down what he said. Okay? Because, yes, cop block. Your names are crazy. I'm sorry. Nunya, cock block. I'm sorry. You just throw me off. But, your judges have to uphold the Constitution. Equals opinion. Well, here's the thing. Judges can do whatever they want in their courtroom because they are the physical embodiment of the law. Does that make sense? So the question is when a judge doesn't uphold your rights, where's your checks and balances? Who do you go to? If a judge, like I just said, the scenario I gave earlier, if a judge just goes, nope, you can't talk to media, you can't talk to anybody, if a judge shuts you down, what do you do? Do you understand what I'm saying? So if a judge doesn't allow you to speak, you said whose opinion? Judges. Yes, exactly. No, that's actually right. Whose opinion? It is their opinion. It's the judge's perspective. Let me tell you something. What if it's a magistrate judge, right? A magistrate judge doesn't have to be a lawyer. A magistrate judge could be like a barber. His whole life ran for the magistrate judge and was elected. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's, has a law background or anything, understand the Constitution, thoroughly, no more than any of us do. But it doesn't make him any less than a judge when you're a magistrate judge. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like what he said, the only thing that, and I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to go back to what he said. This guy has got like, now mind you, he's got like close to 8,000 followers, subscribers. This guy has a radio show. People come to him in desperate times, in desperate situations. A lot of times when their kids are already taken or they're already in the situation, right? What he's saying is, and listen to what he said. I'll start over. I'll break down what he said.
Answer super chat.
He says he has to answer super chat.
Joel C.
That's me.
Joel C. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. It says, you need to understand CPS operates under the jurisdiction of the family court. Civil.
Right. That's civil.
The judge isn't obligated to uphold the constitutional
rights. It's not a constitutional court.
Joel C. I appreciate the super chat, but I have to disagree with you.
Now he's disagreeing with me.
All right. Juvenile dependency court is in the civil division. It's not the family law court.
Now, hold on. Let me stop it. Hold on. I'll pause it. Now, he said something. He agreed with me. He said juvenile dependency court is in the civil division, meaning civil court. He didn't directly agree with me, but he said yes. He didn't say, yes, you're right. He just said it's in the civil division. Yes. But then he went and said something about family law. I never stated anything about family law. I never said anything. I never mentioned family law, but he goes and what he does is he confuses the people who's listening with his language, with his lingo. I didn't say anything about that. All I stated was you need to understand it's in the criminal court. I mean, it's in the civil court. Hold on. Let me see. Nunya, you said people need to be watching their Zoom hearings on YouTube. It's not just because they would know what to expect, but I've seen a lot of misconduct that could be used against them in individual cases. I mean, are you referring to the judges, Nunya? But because I've seen that too. I've seen it from judges, but I've also seen it just all the way around. And some of these, if you go to some of these rural courts, especially here in Texas, man, in Texas, you go out to like Bexar County or like, I was about to say Bexar County, but like Bexar County or Travis County or like some of them, far west Texas, counties out there, like when it gets rural, they kind of just do what they want, just from what I've seen on YouTube. But my point being is that this guy, right? He literally stated everything, like he validated what I said, that it's civil, but then he tried to misconstrue what I said, that I'm somehow getting it confused with family custody battles and this, that, and no, I didn't say any of that. But he went off on a tangent so that he could make me look as if what I said was incorrect or inaccurate, right? And that's the crazy thing when you have these platforms, right? And this is why I say to go along and get along gang, right? Because then he went on, he talked about, and the second thing that he agreed with me was, and I'll go to it. Hold on, let's see what he said.
In divorce type situations.
See, he's talking divorce?
What the fuck? Paternity type situations.
Paternity, like I didn't say anything about that.
Is not involved in a family law court case.
I'm not talking about that.
In a juvenile dependency case.
Okay.
Family law code controls family law court.
Right.
Welfare and Institutions Code in California controls the Welfare and Institutions, controls CPS courts. Okay, none of that has anything to do with what I said. The second statement that I disagree with.
Now check this out.
Judges have to uphold the Constitution. Now, the Constitution is a living, breathing document.
That's what judges have to uphold the Constitution. That's a general statement. We see that judges don't uphold the Constitution. We see it all the time. You see it all the time. And how many, let me ask you guys this. There's like 3 people in the room, right? Okay. This is the most people I've had in a live chat. Anyway, live stream. But have you ever seen those First Amendment audit videos or stuff like that? How many times have we seen judges or attorneys or people who are supposed to uphold your rights just flat out don't? And a lot of times they don't even know that they're supposed to be doing it. It's upon the citizen, right? It becomes upon us to invoke our rights. You know what I'm saying? You saying, is that opinion refutable? Well, Is it refutable in the sense of, the question is, think about it like this. How do you hold someone accountable when you can't bring cameras in, you can't record it, right? It's a judge's situation. Even, or better yet, forget that. Forget what I'm saying. That's speaking more hyperbole. How about this? How about the situations that we watch on YouTube and we see the misconduct and everything like that? Are those judges then fired, or are they held accountable, or are they the attorneys or anything? Is anyone, we witness people's rights get infringed upon all the time. We witness people, and and this is one of the things that judges have to, you're saying, well, the expectation, hold on, the expectation is that judges are supposed to honor your rights. The judges don't have to do anything that they don't want to do. All right, let me just break it down to you. I'm gonna break it down to you and make it as simple as possible, right? I used to be a court investigator with the Dallas County Probate Court. All right. So what that was, we did estates when people had dispute about when grandpop dies and brother and sisters are arguing over who gets grandpop's land and the ranch and all of that. I would be called in, right, to go investigate. Or with adult protection services, an adult, someone who is becoming 21 years of age, and in order for them, their family, in order for their family to still take care of them, they would have and make decisions for them. They would and essentially have to have their rights taken away. So then I would go in and assess to see if the person is, of sound mind and body and can make decisions for themselves, right? The thing is that my role as a court investigator is that I'm operating under the Texas State Estates Code, right? But even over that, I'm operating from the United States Constitution, with everyone has a right. Everyone has access to all their constitutional rights until it's proven that they cannot, that they're not able to make sound judgments, sound decisions, et cetera, et cetera. You said judges have to do equals. Is that an arbitrary opinion or one based in facts and evidence? Well, that's where I'm going with this. One of the things that we were taught as an investigator is that when you're in a judge's courtroom, right? The judge is the physical embodiment of the law. That judge is the law. That saying, I am the law. Well, when you're in a judge's courtroom, that judge can tell you to jump up and down 5 times. And if you don't do it, he can hold you in contempt and throw you in jail for 3 days, up to 72 hours. Like, a judge could do that. Technically, a judge could do whatever they want in their courtroom. It's their courtroom. So that's not an opinion. That's a fact. They are the physical embodiment of the law. Does that make sense? Like that, they are. That's one of the reasons why when you have our appeals court, our Supreme Court, it's the judges that, or they have a judges, the 5-4 ruling or whatever on the Supreme Court. It's their interpretation of the law. Now, their interpretation, like the attorney said, it can be different based off of policy, based off of culture, based off of party. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you're saying, he says, oh, I'm sorry. You said, pardon me. You said judges have to do equals. Is that all right? So you're saying, pardon me. What are you asking? Are you asking, is what I'm saying is factual, or is what I'm saying my personal opinion? Because if that's what you're asking me, I'm saying that that's a fact. When you're in a judge's courtroom, the judge can do whatever they want. If you don't agree with that judge's decision, then you can appeal that judge's decision, and that's what you have the appellate process for. And then if that appellate process doesn't work, you have the Supreme Court, if you can afford to take it that route. But that's the reasons why we have the checks and balances that we do. But back to with CPS, and back to the CPS situation, is how many people can do that? How many people can afford to do that? Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, how many people can take it that far, Okay, hold on. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the chat. He said, "Pardon me." Okay, you say it caps. Just type what you want to say. Type if you're not able to follow me, please. No, I want to be very transparent in what I'm saying in my experience, because the point is, yes, I'm stating my experience. Working for the courts, but that's only here in Dallas when I worked in Dallas County Probate Court. It may be different in other places. So I'm not sure. But I will say this. I will say that a judge can do whatever they see fit at that particular time in that courtroom. I will say that. I'm the judge? No. Okay, so I'm the judge. Says you are the judge. Hey, pardon me. Now, okay, I got what you're saying. You can keep doing that, but guess what? He can hold you in contempt, and you can say that you're interrupting. That okay, yeah, and that I've seen that happen too, and I've seen families like them say, like quiet, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you when you can talk or something like that. Judges will do that in CPS cases. Yes, if that's what you're asking, yes. If you can go, hey, but all right, you keep doing that, and you can make your situation worse. You know what I'm saying? They want everything done in the dark. They try to prohibit recording hearings in person and even YouTube. Now they've essentially closed the courts by refusing to post the docket or the schedule. Well, see, here's the thing. And this is the thing that I discovered here in Texas, right, with the CPS hearings. Yes, the docket is private, but these hearings aren't, CPS hearings aren't actual, how would I say it? They're how do I articulate this? A CPS hearing is through the family court. It's through which is governed by the Texas Estates Code, mainly under 261. Everything 261 down. It's kind of like, the CPS investigators role, et cetera, and what they do, this, that, and the other. By law, the court is supposed to be open to the public. Not necessarily. Their argument is that it's minors and that it's juvenile, so that they don't necessarily have to open that to the public. You know what I'm saying? He says, I'll be quiet, I'm not supposed, since you're threatening me. Am I here to testify? Right. But the thing is, you might not even be able to say that, depending on the judge. And then the thing is, guess what? Now, let's just say they put you in jail for contempt of court because you're speaking out of turn, because the judge has to give you permission to speak in this courtroom. You can't just go and speak. You can't say, pardon me, or object, blah, 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 blah. And normally, yours, like when I hear people doing that, you guys are thinking of a constitutional court, like what you would see on, TV, and like how you'd go in a criminal case. You know what I'm saying? But in a CPS case, it's dependent on the judge that you have. One judge may let you testify and say, okay, you go, or you can testify, say whatever, bring up and I've personally experienced this. I went to court for my daughter. This is in a whole other state. This is in the state of Kansas. It was a magistrate judge. And when I stated, my daughter ended up in CPS's custody at the time. This was back in like 2014. My daughter was like 12. Her mother was on and off drugs. I think if you watch my other videos, you've seen or I've explained my situation before. But this is a precursor to everything that happened in my previous videos. I had everything. I had a, what's it called? ICPC done, which is an interstate, like CPS, like you're transferring from one state to another, but it's so that I could be, like Kansas would still hold jurisdiction, but my daughter could live here with me at the time because I'm her biological father. Does that make sense? So I had to get that done. They had to come investigate my home, make sure everything's safe, this, that, and the other. Then I went and took all that to court. I had her set up with therapists, for family therapy. I had I had a doctor's appointment already arranged for her. I had everything that everything that they told me. They had a form and they just told me some of the things that I should have done in order to be, in good standing with CPS. But the judge happened to be personal friends with my daughter's grandfather, with my daughter's mother's father or whatever, who they were just respected in that town. It was a small town, no more than 1,200 people in the town. That's how small the town was. Come to find out later, that family had paid for him to get a heart surgery in like Wichita, Kansas, or something like that. They paid for him and his family to fly out to the hospital like 2 years before. Now, I don't know. I can't say that had an impact on their decision at that time. But although that, my daughter's mother was, she was high in the court when we were there. She was high as a kite, she just had used like that morning. And she admitted it in the court because she didn't want to take a urine test. So that's how we know that she did it. But so with all that being stated, the judge still decided that I wasn't fit enough for my daughter to come. So they put her in foster care up there. Now, mind you, she was still in the same area, but she was with, a whole nother family. You understand what I'm saying? So the judge decided to do that on his own. Now, I appealed it, but I had to get an attorney, which cost me close to like $4,000 at the time. I mean, it wasn't like, I really couldn't afford that. I had to borrow from Peter to pay Paul just to fight this case. And it was just an ongoing process. I never, long story short, I never got custody of her. And then, years later, when things got too hectic, that's how she ended up coming to me. Once they realized that the daughter, my daughter's mother she wasn't changing. That cycle kept happening. It was like every year she'd have a relapse, and this whole cycle would keep going, and they just got tired of dealing with her, pretty much. But my point being is, and I say all that to say, it's up to the judge. That judge didn't honor my rights. The right says is that if there's a parent, a biological parent, right, then I'm supposed to be the first option, no matter where I am. That's what it says in every state code with CPS. If there's a biological parent that's the next of kin, then they should be able to, the child should automatically defer to that person. Well, this judge decided that, and I took a urine test. At the time I was I'm a licensed social worker myself. I'm a court investigator for the Dallas County Probate Court at the time. I'm working in the court systems in a whole nother city. A whole nother state. My background check, I haven't been arrested and been to jail. I don't have, I'm married. I already have a son. We have more than enough. I had a 4-bedroom house at the time. We were doing it. We were doing well. She had her own room with me, but the judge just, for whatever reason, for whatever reason it was. Now, I don't know. I could speculate, and the snake eats the tail. The snake eats the tail. I don't know if can you explain that reference there? But to my point, because I'm thinking multiple things with that reference. But to the point, you don't ever know what a judge is going to do. You may think that you're fit and everything, and you never know. My point being is that that's not, how do we hold people accountable? From what that lawyer said earlier, that I veered a bit way off, but from what that attorney said earlier, he said that, I'm going to go right back to it. Hold on. I'm going to go back to what he said. He said he disagreed with me with
they've been saying to me all throughout my career as a lawyer, through law school. says different things to
the
different
Constitution.
people at different
The
times
Constitution.
under different situations. So it's flexible, right?
See, now
you think it is just a set of rules.
It is a set of rules. It is.
But
so
judges are obligated to uphold. I even think uphold the Constitution. I even think it's part of their oath as a judge.
Now,
so
think
Joe,
about that.
Let's not give up on the system.
He said that judges are uphold to or they're supposed to uphold the obligated to uphold the Constitution. Who upholds them? If you appeal a judge, right? If you appeal a hearing and someone says this judge was wrong, does that judge get in trouble? No, that judge doesn't get in trouble. Does it? Maybe he gets a bad opinion. He might not get reelected, but he's not losing any weight while your kid is out there. And I'm just going to be transparent. While your kid is in foster care, right? Being, possibly, and I'm speculating here, but this is just my personal opinion, and I'm stating this. While your kid is experiencing God knows what in foster care, some kid could be touching them. Somebody could be doing something horrific to your kid, right? Someone could be doing something horrific to your kid, but these judges are just, hey, it's just whatever. You know what I mean? And then you can't even hold these people accountable. What you gonna do? Protest and have them not reelected? My overall point is when this guy said this bullshit here. Shouldn't have cursed. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have cursed. I get passionate, y'all. I'm sorry.
Believe that it works, and let's keep trying. I know Georgia has
this last part when he said, "Let's believe in the system. The system works. Let's believe that the system works." Tell that to somebody who did everything the system told them to do. How do you tell someone to keep going? How do you tell somebody to keep fighting that? How do you tell somebody, say, okay, hey, listen, just give them another chance. It's not working out. Okay, keep going. Keep going. We've seen social workers lie. We've seen them lie. We've seen them get caught in lies. Do they go to jail for it? Are they held accountable for it? You say all law is contract law. Comply or don't. See, and then there, that's funny you say that, because if you're poor white trash, I'm just gonna say it like this: if you're a poor white person living in a trailer park, if you're a Hispanic family, or if you're black, then no, the law is the law, and they execute that law. And they hammer it down on all three of those groups. I don't care what anyone says. That's one of those groups. People, you hear a lot of the Black Lives Matter, and I'm not trying to get into that. I'm not, trying to get all socially political and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is that if you're poor and white in this country, if you're Hispanic in this country, and I don't care if you're Hispanic rich or Hispanic poor or immigrant, if you're black in this country, and if let's say you're black and poor, you know what I'm saying? Or if you're a single white woman, that's another thing, or a single woman of anything, you are a target. So let's not pretend that CPS isn't a business, and that taking children, people aren't making money off of this situation here. There was a case in Fort Worth, right? There was a judge, and I wish I had the clip, man. I would have played it, but there was a judge in Fort Worth, Texas, that he was holding CPS social workers accountable. He was giving people's kids back. He was like, nope, throwing cases out. No, this wasn't done wrong. You didn't let the family know. You didn't, give notice. You just showed up to the school, took the kids. You didn't have any proof. This is all speculation. Your paperwork, it's copy and pasted. You have kids' name on the paperwork that don't even belong here on the paperwork. You have all these other situations happening, right? And then it goes, and so this judge was holding them accountable. Do you know the other judges? You can look this up. You guys can Google this. There's a recording of the other judges all coming together and saying, we cannot allow CPS cases to go to that particular judge's court anymore because he's affecting the system. He's affecting the system as if there's a system. Yeah, what my man say? Mod ENT, what's up, man? I ain't seen you in a while, bro. He said, money, 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 money. That's all people care about. No price is too big to get it. Well, let me tell you. And I can just tell you here in Texas, 4,000, between 4 to 6,000 a month is what your kids are worth. That's what your county gets reimbursed from CPS. You know what I'm saying? Your county from the state or whatever. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what the state gets. 4 to not your county. Your county has their CPS offices, but what I'm saying is $4,000 to $6,000 a month. Your kid gonna go into foster care. They're gonna get. They're gonna get into CPS custody, and they're gonna come out being ADHD, all types of psychological issues and problems. They're gonna be doped up on all types of meds. You understand what I'm saying? They're gonna have all types of ailments and stuff because it keeps that money going. I'm telling you. So my point being with that attorney, right? The reason why I played that guy was because he didn't tell you guys. He didn't offer anything. He's saying still play along with this system. Still go with that system. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying destroy the whole thing, tear everything down. What I'm saying is people need to be held accountable. You know what I'm saying? Somebody posted, Judge Kim said crime is $1 million business. They don't want crime to, of course, crime is a business. Of course, I've never heard anyone saying, yay, let's stop crime. Let's put, businesses and schools. Let's teach kids coding instead of teaching them how to be an employee. Listen, let me tell you something. Can I share something with you guys? I'm gonna share something with you guys, right? So I come from a blue collar family, right? Like my family, a lot of men in my family were barbers. They cut hair, mechanics. My grandfather owned his own business, right? I don't see, if you don't have a family member that shows you and teaches you how to start and create your own business, they're not teaching you that in school. If I could just count all the student loan debt I have just to get my master's degree, you know what I mean? And the reality of it is that, I could open up my own practice and do therapy or whatever, what may have you. But the reality of it is that I would have to either go back and take some business classes or talk to people who actually own a business. I don't know nothing about getting a tax ID number and things like that. Like, these are things I had to learn about when I started looking into doing my own business. It's a system, bro. It's a system. So nothing happens in the county without the sheriff. I totally agree. If you watch my videos, I truly believe that the sheriffs knew. But the thing is that it becomes a practice. And then these people become so comfortable in doing the wrong thing, right? Not upholding your rights. Somebody mentioned it earlier about them, misconceiving people and tricking them. Like how CPS social workers, they'll trick you. They'll have you even think that they're law enforcement. Like, if you don't do what we're saying, you're going to go to jail. Blah, 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 blah. When the reality is that you have to be knowledgeable, right? We the people. We have to be knowledgeable to know our rights and to know what we can, and or when it comes to CPS, that a lot of times helping them and saying cooperating, because they'll use these terms like you're not cooperating. Well, cooperating isn't necessarily. So if I'm invoking my Fourth Amendment right to be free from illegal searches and seizures, and I'm not allowing you into my home, I'm not cooperating with your investigation. So now you're going to go and then you're going to go and use that against me, but you're not supposed to. We're supposed to remember under that Fourth Amendment, we're also supposed to be treated, equally. I think Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment is, innocent until proven guilty. If I'm correct, and that's one of those situations where they penalize you if you don't do what they say. If you don't do what they want you to do, if you don't let them in, and then the reality of it is, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And with that attorney, I didn't walk away with, he never said I was wrong. He just said, we got to play the game. So I'm just like, okay, so are we more meat for the grinder? Are the attorney's job is to keep us in this rat race or this hamster wheel? I'm just saying, am I obligated to cooperate? Can I see can I see this obligation? Right. No, but that's a good question. No, you're not obligated to cooperate. But they use those terms to say to the judge, he didn't cooperate. And then if you're sitting in front of a CPS judge and that CPS judge doesn't allow you to speak, he's going off of everything the social worker is saying. What school do you have? So USA school system was built to make sheep, not leaders. Damn right. Yo, that is, you're right. You're right. You're so right. But you know what though? If you come from like, and I don't know how it is in, in other cultures, but I was raised, a black father, the black grandpa that owned a barbershop. We worked on our weekends. One of the things that I did as a kid, was I swept up hair. That was my first job. I was like 8 years old and swept up hair at my grandpa's barbershop. But I learned a lot of things, and all of my family, we all had a place where, we didn't have to go outside of, if we decided to have a job, it's because we chose to go work at McDonald's or chose to get a job outside of the barbershop. We always had a way to earn money as a family. You understand what I'm saying? That's not taught in schools. I think that if we spent more time on, raising and breeding entrepreneurs, independent thinkers. Well, no, let me not get started on that because you're gonna take me down a whole nother tangent. Because the thing is, I want you guys to think. Like I just want people to think. Like, why would an attorney say that? You're saying fight CPS, and I'm saying, hey, look, understand, guys. Look, I'm pulling the blindfold off of everyone, right? Listen, CPS, right? They're operating under civil court. I mean, under the civil courts. You know what I mean? So that's not constitutional. That's the same people that when you don't pay your rent or you don't pay your light bill, that's the court you go into. You go in people's court with Judge Wapner. That's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And the favorite turn room. Well, I don't know. You going on a whole nother tangent with that one. I'm not going to go there because you're going deep with that one. I understand what you're saying with that one, but you're going to get my channel flagged saying that. Well, I don't know. I'm probably going to get flagged just for posting this video. I just with that guy's statement, man, people come to him. People come to him and they're vulnerable. They want their kids back, bro. They want their children back. And you telling the family that this social worker is clearly lying and this, that, and the other. And then, I just think it benefits people when you tell them, listen, understand, this is a constitutional court, right? Right. When you break a law, you punch somebody in the face or you physically assault somebody, the police are involved. That's constitutional. Your constitutional rights have to be upheld in that situation. You know what I'm saying? If your neighbor is mad that you're infringing upon their lawn or whatever the case, your lights are too bright or whatever, and it goes, that's civil court. That's the same court and the same guidelines that CPS operates under. They operate under that, which is none. There's nothing to hold anybody accountable. Hey, let me ask you this. Have you guys ever seen a social worker or a CPS caseworker be arrested for stealing someone's kid? You know what I'm saying? Oh, he bought the J. Well, you better stay away from that word. Stay away from that one, right? You know what I'm saying? Either way. Well, listen, if I get banned, I get banned. But I'm talking truth here. I want you guys, anyone who watches this video or is watching this now and sees this, my goal is for you to understand what you're dealing with, right? Understand what it is you're dealing with. When CPS comes around, that listen, like I'll give you a prime example. I wish I had it on me, but I print off these cards for my children and they go right on their backpacks or it's inside their backpack. And it states on there that they do not, if an adult tries to speak to them, If an adult, and I advise each and every one of you, if you have kids, even if you don't have kids, if you have a niece and nephew or someone that you love and care about, that you do this, right? That my daughter's in first grade, my son is in fifth. They both have it, and we discuss it with them, that they don't speak to any adults, whether it be staff, school staff, or non-staff. So that means anyone. That means school personnel. I think it says personnel on there. I can't remember verbatim what it is, but it says I do not speak to school personnel or non-personnel without my parents present. That's it. That's all you have to do. Put that, give them that little card. If anyone ever tries to talk to them, that's all they have to do is hand it to them. That's it. That's all the CPS, whomever. At that point, they're invoking their Fourth Amendment right. They don't have to speak to anybody. They're saying they want their parent present. This, that, and other. They don't have conversations. They don't say a word. At that point, they're not going to be able to get anything out of them. You understand what I'm saying? And my kids understand. You listen, look, let me know, whatever, call me, let me know this, that. You don't enter no contracts. You don't do anything. You don't sign anything. You don't do anything without speaking to me first. And I'll be up there. You know, I have a flexible schedule. I work a lot from home. I'll be up there. I'll hop in the Batmobile real quick and be right up there. You know what I mean? We can have that discussion. You know, we have to really advocate for our rights, y'all. And that's the whole point I'm really trying to hammer home here. We don't necessarily ever really prepare for, like, let's just be real. Most of us go through our lives not thinking that CPS is going to come, show up, and be talking and having whole conversations with our kids. What's it say? Free or not in 5 questions. I don't understand what that means, but you know, all I'm saying is I just want for people to be informed, and I think it's disingenuous when someone who is an attorney, someone who is supposed to be representing you, someone who's supposed to be advocating for you, when they say things like that, and it's all innuendo. It's all it's all his opinion. It's his perspectives. He's saying, I think judges are supposed to uphold the Constitution. Okay, well, what happens if a judge don't uphold the Constitution? What happens to him? Because, see, I know what happens to me, right? If I lie on some documentation or if I'm doing something for a client and I'm dishonest on it, I know what happens to me. You know, I lose my job. I could lose my license. You know what I mean? Like I could lose my ability to, you know, make money and, you know, provide for my family if I do all that. These judges don't have to worry about that. They on to the next case. Oh, well, called that one wrong. But you done ruin somebody's life. You done traumatize somebody's kid. You know what I'm saying? And then the messed up part is the foster homes and this is just my perspective. The foster homes a lot of times the foster homes a lot of times be treating the kids worse than what they're in there for, what they've been removed for. You know, neglect, and you have babies with their throats all because they've been crying for so long. Let's see. What checks and balances do judges and CPS have? That's a great question. And the reality for CPS, and here's the thing. With CPS, they conduct their own investigations. So if you have a ruling with CPS, right? If CPS says they found that abuse, they find that abuse occurred, or they find you guilty of abuse, whatever that term is, right? Let's just say they do that. Well, you're going to have to go through them. You're going to have to appeal through CPS. Then in Texas, it's like this. You have to appeal through CPS. Then you go through the governing agency. Let's just say if that isn't overturned, then you can go through the governing agency, which is DFPS, Department of Family and Protective Services. They're the ones who govern over CPS. You have to go through them. And then there's one more appeal process above them, but it's still through DFPS. But you only get 3 tries. And if all 3 of them uphold the original ruling, And this is how they uphold the original ruling. You can't prove that they was wrong. So if a CPS worker, check this out, I'll give you a scenario. A CPS worker or investigator comes to your kid's school and it's you and their kid alone. They don't record the conversation. They don't do anything. They just interview your kid. And then they make up all this other type of stuff. And you come find out they saying you do drugs. They saying you do blah, 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 blah. It says no evidence the Constitution or laws apply. No evidence the court has jurisdiction has been presented by the prosecutor, the court, the judge just assumes it applies. Otherwise, he has no job. Well, what is it called? Why do I always forget this term every time I go live? But qualified immunity. CPS and CPS investigators, just like police officers, have what is called qualified immunity. In other words, they get the benefit of being right, and it's up to us, the people, to prove them wrong. If it's my word as an American citizen versus a CPS investigator's word, the CPS investigator is going to win because I don't have any evidence disputing what the CPS investigator is saying. So they have the qualified immunity, right? They don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that what they're saying is true, right? If their statement is that you're guilty, it says remove qualified immunity by getting them to contradict themselves. Wow. Well, even if you get them to contradict, there's cases where they have wrong documentation and it still stands, it still holds valid. I can tell you this, my situation with my daughter. My situation with my daughter in Kansas before she came to move here, they didn't even have my name in the thing right. They had my name as like Murad Potter or something like that or whatever it is. They had my name like totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't care. That's my real name's Murad. So yeah, they had my name like real crazy in there, and they ended up. It still stood. Like no one contested it. Like I remember asking the CPS worker, like this investigator, I was like, so are you guys going to change it? Are you going to do an amendment? Because this isn't a legal document. Because guess what? When I was an investigator in Dallas, I couldn't do that. I would have to, they could literally, an attorney could get my whole thing thrown out just because I put someone's wrong name. So it also, again, it depends on the judge that you have. It all boils down, it all comes back to the judge. If a judge wants to hear you, they'll hear you. But the question is how do we hold them accountable? Are you knowingly proceeding absent evidence? The law applies and the court has jurisdiction. Yes equals malicious prosecution. Yeah, they've shown that. I've watched, you can YouTube this. You can YouTube an appeal hearing. I think it was like in California. I want to say it was California. But it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, like the federal court of California, where the attorney is advocating that CPS investigators should be able to lie to remove children, even when it's shown that the children was based upon a lie, because there's no case law that says that you can't do that. And then that's when they defer to the Constitution in the Fourth Amendment and what may have you. But look how far it has to go. How many 9 to 5 people? If your mom works at let's just say your mom works at school as a teacher's aide, like my mom did, right? Or my mom was a CNA. My dad worked for UPS. All right. Those are regular jobs. You get decent money, but who can afford to go all the way and get, $5,000-$6,000 attorneys to go all the way to take it all the way up that far? People like us get the short end of the stick. If you rich or famous or something, like, yeah, you can get that. But That ain't me. That ain't us. That isn't the majority of people. That's why I say it's a business. So when you say malicious persecution, malicious prosecution or whatever, okay, but that social worker ain't getting fired. I mean, unless that social worker might get fired, but that social worker isn't going to go to jail. Nothing's going to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to beat a dead horse with this. I just want to say that when you have attorneys like that, right? This guy, Vincent Davis, and I respect the man. Normally he says some good stuff, but when I said something, I'm trying to pull the mask back. Look, y'all, it's civil court, y'all. Why are we having all these arguments about what you're talking as if these people are obligated to listen to you? They're not. They do what they want. And the reality of the situation is, unless you did what I did and I'm a social worker, so I kind of knew what CPS was going to do, and I prepared for it. And I had a friend of mine who was a former director of another CPS agency in another county, so I was able to kind of, her and I, we went to college together. We staffed it out. We talked about it, and we came together. We put our knowledge together, and we discovered something. We was like, oh my gosh, this has never been discovered. No one has ever said this before. That's one of the reasons why, if you look at my videos, there's no other videos like mine on YouTube altogether. You can please tag me. Show me somewhere where you catch CPS lying. You catch them trying to set you up, and you got it on camera. But the whole thing is that these guys, they were so arrogant. They were so arrogant and so comfortable with doing things the way they want to do them that they didn't hesitate. I'm going to share something with you guys. When that situation happened with me, right? With that Nolan guy, if you go back, you guys can watch my videos, the CPS harassment videos. But the original investigator that came to my home, so he came probably a couple weeks before. That wasn't his first time coming here. I invited him in my home. I did everything that most families do. We sit you down. Hey, come on. He comes in my house and he sits on my couch and it's all comfy. Pulls his laptop out. He does like this. He pulls his laptop out. He's like, He goes, he's typing. He goes, Mr. Campbell, never looks at me. Why is he sitting on my couch? Can you go in the other room while I talk to Mrs. Campbell for a second? And I'm like, what? So you know what I did? I went along with it. I was like, I start grabbing my stuff. I start acting like I'm moving. Okay. And then I go to my wife, and I see my wife, she's getting anxious. And then I go and I say, babe, unless you're not okay with that, I mean, we can, unless you're not okay with it. And she goes, oh, no, I'm not okay with that. And then that's when he does like this. He goes, he stops typing and everything. He looks and he goes, I said, no, my wife's not comfortable with that. We're going to do this together. And he goes, but it's our policy. And I said, well, I don't work for CPS. I said, babe, you don't work for CPS. You work for CPS? No. Mm-mm. Okay, no. Well, you do what you got to do, but we don't work for CPS, so we're not obligated to do anything. That Texas family code is for you. I'm not obligated to follow anything. You're in my house. No, we doing this together, and that's how I went. And that was the tone of the rest of the investigation. And what I'm trying to say is, I just want people to be empowered in these situations, man. And I want you guys to know going into it, what it is that that you're dealing with, that you're up against, and understand the basic core. Start from the the fact that CPS operates under the family court, but they're under the guise, right? They operate under the guise of criminal court. They wear the little badges that look like little, like little police badges and stuff. Like you know what I mean? They do. It's all meant to play with you. So the key is the best thing that I say that you guys could do is like, listen, call these attorneys out. When they start saying these things, you want tangible things that you can do. Don't tell me innuendo. Don't tell me your opinion. Tell me, what can I do to protect my kid when, there's a CPS case, right? If my kid is taken by CPS investigators, what is my process? What can I do? What can I do to go get my kid out tonight? Do I need to call my state's assembly person? Call my congressman? What do I need to do? Like, you need to ask for specific and tangible steps to do. Don't ask this bull. Sorry, I don't want to curse. But you don't ask for this, opinion stuff like, hey, well, write a list of 25 names and, maybe they'll go to a family member. Nah, they're not going to go to a family member if they don't have to. If that 25 names isn't on that child's person when they're taken from CPS, guess what? They go into CPS custody and they stay in CPS custody. They're not going to a family member until at least 14 days later. They're going to get their money's worth. They're going to get that first 2 weeks. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. I can't state that as factual because things happen different. But I have to state, I'm not an attorney. This is just my perspective. I just happen to be one of those few people to, go up against, these CPS jokers and, come out, you know what I'm saying, without having my kids being taken away. You know what I mean? If they going to come, they got to come correct or don't come at all. So listen, man, it's been like an hour. I didn't even realize it's been that long. I want to thank you guys for viewing. Thank you guys for the ones who stayed here, ride with me all this time. Listen, if you have any questions, any comments, please don't hesitate to reply. I reply to it all. But I'm going to tell you right now, listen. I respond to everybody. I ask that you be respectful. I respond to it all. I do. But let me just say, I want to keep it positive. I do respond to all my comments. You know what I mean? But don't get mad if you say something crazy. And then I come back at you with something even crazier. And then you get mad at me saying, well, you said that you respond to it all. And I can say what I want. No. I'll come for your neck if you disrespectful. You know what I mean? But, it's okay because I think this stuff is really important. I think it's really important. I think we should know, and everybody should be able to protect their families. All right. Everybody should know their rights. And listen, I'm not saying nothing that's not accessible to you guys, man. Know your Constitution. Always operate from that principle because no state can ever, overwrite your constitutional rights, and that's in the Constitution itself. What is that? What you call a clause? Article 2. I can't remember what you call a clause that is. Can't remember. Anyway, it's in the Constitution. Please look it up. Know your Constitution. All right. Listen, you guys have a good evening. Stay blessed, man. Thank you so much for the love and support. Please like, share, and subscribe. All right. Okay. Y'all have a good evening. Peace.